Hi, everybody. My name's Brian. I'm from Science World, and I loved Shazzy's video showing all the cool things you can do with Unreal. So I've been trying that out. I ran into some problems, and Shazzy has very generously agreed to help me figure some things out. The first thing I'll let any of you know who are downloading it, you go to the Epic Games website, go to download Unreal. It takes a while. It is a big, big program. So don't feel like, oh, it's just not happening. Like, start it downloading, start installing, and then have a meal. Go away for the weekend. Try different things that way. The other thing you'll find, or at least I found, the first time you run it, there's a lot of compiling. There's a lot of things that have to happen in the background the first time going on. So it was starting up and it was stuck on 45% for a long time. And I thought, mine's broken. And I actually Googled, why is it stuck on 45%? And there were a lot of other people that, no, it's just fine. Just again, have a meal, go for a vacation, come back. Unreal, we'll be ready for you. But yeah, I've been having great fun. I have redecorated my living room area and it looks hideous. And my daughter thinks it's appalling, which is great. But my big thing was I wanted to play with the Wildbrain dudes because I love the little animated figures you had.
It's just actually one character just duplicated 3 times. So I will
Gotcha.
give you the one character and then you can drag out the other three.
Okay. So when we have the FBX, it comes in. Where in the Unreal program do we actually drag in the FBX then?
Sure. So in the bottom part is your content browser, and that's where
Okay.
you see all the materials and textures and things like that.
Yeah.
So if you right click on an empty space in there and you'll see something that says import,
Yeah.
you just click on that and then it's just your file directory and you go to where it is and you click on that and it's just a static mesh, which is the simplest type of asset you can bring in. That means there's no bones, there's no movement to it.
Just
It's
a
just
thing.
an inanimate object essentially.
Okay.
So you just pick that. The default settings are enough, and you hit import, and it should come in and right there.
Ah, nice. And then is it like a right click or anything special to get into the animation controls to set up the keyframes and things, or does that just happen?
So once you have it imported in, you can just click on it and drag it into your world.
Okay.
Um, you can do that 2 times, 3 times. You could have as many as of them as
Take
you
over the
want.
whole living room with
Yeah.
Wildbrain dudes.
So once those are dragged in, then the animation part of it happens around the cinematic part that I go into of making
Okay.
that level sequence. So
Okay.
that's when you can click on so under cinematics, there's a tab where you can do add level sequence, and
Okay.
it'll pop something up for you that looks like a timeline, and it'll be empty to start with. And that's where you start adding the actors that
Right.
you want to animate. So you can click on the wild brain dude, and then there's an option there to track him. So you'll see like, okay, track wild brain dude. And once he's there, then you have all the rotation, translation, all those things
All those things that are
exposed.
in the video.
And that's where you can put the keyframe and scrub through the timeline.
Fun. Very random thing because I like to play in worlds. Could anything in the world be an actor? Like, could I take one of the
Yeah.
pillows and make it learn like start
Yes.
pillow fights and
Anything in there, the lights can be actors, any kind of object in there. So if you wanted to, move the couch up and down, you could
right?
even parent. So you could put you can put Wild Brain Dude as a child of the couch. So if the
Okay.
couch moves, the characters would move
The wild brain dude would
with
stay
it.
on it. So we,
Yeah,
we throw the
yeah,
couch around the room and wild brain dudes stay on the couch.
yep, yep. So you
Oh,
can add everything you want to it. And there's also, um, you get by default exposed like the transform data and if it's visible, but
okay.
there's other things too, like you could change the material. So you could say,
Oh,
okay, after 5 seconds, let's make it orange. After another second, let's make it yellow. Or you can do a whole bunch of stuff in there too, and you can expose a variety of parameters that you want to control in the
as,
timeline.
as you're flying it around, like you did in the video,
Yeah,
you made it bigger and smaller, but here we could
yeah,
suddenly turn it. Now it's made of wood, or now it's
yeah. So
yeah.
like as it gets bigger, it gets red, and as it gets smaller, it gets green or whatever you want.
Oh, fun. There's
Yeah.
going to be such havoc wrought in my little living room. Perfect. Thanks so much, Chazzy. That's super helpful. Any other tips you would have for people diving into this for the first time?
I would say don't be afraid of clicking anything and everything.
Yeah.
Undo is your best friend.
Control Z will solve the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for any reason, like if you really mess up the project, just download it again. It's a free project. But I would
Yeah.
just say don't be afraid of clicking toggles and just trying everything, because that's the best way to learn what something does, and getting that muscle memory and doing that over and over, I think, is the best way to learn. And there's so much in there, and I'm still finding new buttons and toggles. So I would say be patient. There's also a ton of help, as you explained. You Googled
Yeah,
what's happening, and there are tons of
45%.
other people with the same thing. So if you're like, how do I change the color, or how do I do this, there's so much out
Somebody's
there
done that.
also for help. So don't be afraid to look for it.
Nice. Any other Unreal projects you'd recommend? Fun ones just to play around in?
Um, Let me pull up the Epic launcher. So the beginning of each month, they put out free like marketplace assets.
Okay.
So I check always the beginning of each month, and I grab all of them. Even if I don't think I'm going to use it for a project, you never know what kind of projects you're going to have. And sometimes I use a lot of the thing place in ways they're not intended.
Right.
So you might see something and be like, oh, okay, that's a house, but if I make it really small, now it's a toy in someone's room. Or,
Gotcha.
you can repurpose them for what you need. So I would definitely say kind of check that all the time, because you can get a lot of cool stuff. They have, there's sound effect packs they have too. There's like and there's things that are animated that have skeletons and stuff like that. So if you wanted to make a game, you could get a couple free characters. So there's a ton of fun stuff on there. You have to verify I'm not a robot first.
Are they asking about crosswalks or hills or
It
traffic
was a
lights?
frog. Which one, like,
That's frog.
was it rotated correctly?
Oh, the rotated frog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of traffic lights for some reason.
Let's see. So they have, like, once you download the Epic Games Launcher, they actually have a Learn tab, and that's
Okay.
where they have all of their free projects, and that's where you'll see, like, the ArchViz interior, which is the one that I used. They have some cool stuff around cameras. So if you're interested more in like film and cinematics, they have a lot of projects around like virtual cameras. And they have some cool like physics stuff, like breaking stuff. Their chaos system is for like breaking things apart.
Right.
So if you like that, they have a free project for that. And then if you're more kind of on the coding side, they have a ton of blueprint projects that you can get started with. So I didn't get a chance to really talk about blueprints in the workshop, but that's kind of their way of coding without having to code. It's a node-based system, so it's really friendly, really easy to kind of pick up, and it's a visual kind of scripting system. So if you want to be building games or custom stuff, blueprints is how you do that. So in the
Sort of a
Learn
like
tab,
extended block coding kind of thing.
yeah, exactly. They have a couple examples in there, and they have some like template games that you can download that have some base blueprints in there for like moving a character around. They show you how to map keys to your keyboard. So if you hit like spacebar, the character jumps, or if you hit spacebar, all the furniture turns upside down. Things like that is where you start needing a little bit more logic involved, and that's kind of where the blueprint side. So I'd say if you're enjoy more of the technical side, I would definitely look into blueprints, because you can do a lot more in there, and it'll be very familiar to you.
Fun. The physics stuff you were talking about before, can I take that in and blow up my living room from
You can like blow it to pieces. You can put like, just turn off gravity and have everything float around. So it's really cool. Like their physics system, it takes a little more setup to set it up, but you can do a lot of cool stuff and, break real life physics or mimic real life physics, depending, what your game is or what your scene is.
Jesse, thank you so much. This is great. It's given me lots of fun ideas that I'm going to play with, and I hope everybody else finds fun things they can play with.